This is you're watching Obnoxious Television Live with none other than yours truly, Sir William G. McCray III. We are out here in front of live in downtown Atlanta, in front of the Fulton County Courthouse, where today we have had some exciting news. Quantavius Nicholls took a plea bargain, took a plea deal on today. Some of the charges against him, murder, and some of the other more serious charges, the state decided to let go and allowed him to plead guilty to participating in a criminal enterprise, because they're making the determination, or within this RICO charge, they're saying that YSL is not just a record label, but it is actually a uh, a gang. So he had taken the plea today. We were here live in the courtroom when the plea happened. Uh, Going to give you some of the additional facts so that we can make sure that we articulate it for you absolutely correctly. Uh, all right, obnoxious breaking news: the defendant in YSL RICO trial accepts a plea deal. One of the defendants in the YSL RICO trial has accepted a plea. Quantavius Nicholls was one of the 28 original defendants named in the original indictment against YSL. Uh, he has agreed to plead guilty. Uh, bye bye. To one count of conspiracy to violate the racketeer influenced and corrupt organizations, better known as the RICO Act. The state has dismissed other charges he was facing, which included murder, 2 counts of participation in criminal street gang activity, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. The judge accepted the sentence of 20 years to serve 7 in custody. Nicholls has been previously convicted of 2 counts of possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. So, Nicholls, out of the 6 co-defendants, he is the only one that decided to take a plea deal. Um, the remaining 5, and definitely including that of Jeffrey, government name Jeffrey Williams, but known as Young Thug, they are all in agreement that they will not take a plea bargain. Okay, so I had a question, or a brief conversation after court today with Attorney Weinstein, and I asked and expressed that I felt that the that Judge Whitaker has not made a decision because they're waiting on the state to see what pleas and what deals can be made, and she's holding making the decision on whether or not that this should be a mistrial or not. Well, he certainly disagreed. He said that he thought that Judge Whitaker had a great command of her courtroom, and that she was doing a great job, and that the co-defendant, Mr. Nicholls, and the prosecution, that everyone seemed comfortable and happy with the deal. My my contention is that if a mistrial was declared, say last week or say when the mistake first happened, if a mistrial was declared then this gentleman, Mr. Nicholls, would not have to go to prison and serve 7 years because it would have been a mistrial. So it's almost as if it's 6 dozen in one hand, half a dozen in the other. But I'm not necessarily in agreement with her making a decision. Now, we all are entitled to our own opinions. That's my particular opinion, that a decision should be made for uh, uh, whether or not that this is excuse excuse me, whether or not that this uh, will be declared a mistrial. The prosecution's case has been bad from the start. I have said that it seems as if it's sinking like the Titanic. The case is just seems to be uh, unorganized and all over the place. Um, with a lot of the mistakes that have been made, uh, so many egregious things that has happened, from attorneys being arrested, attorneys uh, de- attorneys trying to bring in drugs the to the court, just all kind of things that have just been problematic, that should declare that this is a mistrial. I am very fine. Are you okay? Uh, we got a troll. We got we have a troll. But so that's where I stand on this particular trial. I think that, and if it I do get and understand that if she declares a mistrial um, without prejudice, then it'll have to go all the way back again, and they will, start from scratch, seating a jury and all of that. So it's a catch 22, and this has been a most interesting case. It's the longest running case. Um, I think is the longest running case in the history of the state of Georgia, and it is still seemingly nowhere near uh, uh, coming to a close anytime quickly. And it's an interesting, very, very interesting time, because we are facing and dealing with an election year. And so, quite naturally, the district attorney will want to be, and is desiring and seeking to be reelected. However, let's address her seeking a second term. Fani Willis ran and was an assistant DA to Paul Howard, Morehouse graduate, who uncle of the NBA basketball player Dwight Howard. He was the Fulton County District Attorney for over 27 years. There have been, toward the last few years of the time that he was serving as DA, there was some allegations from assistant DAs and people that worked in his, about three, I think it was either 3 or 4 women that worked in his office that made some allegations of sexual harassment. And unfortunately, Fani Willis ran a lot of her campaign on those allegations. And ironically enough, she had or face and faces a sexual scandal herself, where she hired a special person to come in and help with the prosecute the uh, the Trump case, and then uh, prosecute the Trump case, and then get involved in a relationship with him, and is brought up on some ethical and questionable violations of her behavior to be involved with someone that she hired to do or to prosecute the case on her behalf. So it's a definitely catch-22. This is election year. We're not only voting for the president, but we also will be voting to determine whether or not she'll be our DA for another, or the Fulton County DA for another 4 years. And she certainly wants to be. But however, it is going to be important for her, excuse me, need some water. It's going to be important for her to have or to get a conviction, and that is that has not at this time happened as of yet. She has not. She has 2 major cases that's before her. One that has been held, and that's the uh, Trump case, where they tried to steal or an election, and then this YSL RICO charge. Now, the interesting thing about the RICO charge is that it's a very broad charge. It encompasses a lot. It they use that same charge in the Atlanta Public Schools cheating scandal. They said that the Beverly Hall ran a criminal enterprise with having the teachers cheat and say that the students were doing better than what they actually were. So it's a very broad charge in the law that can encompass a lot of different activities, rather than you have to, with a murder charge, you have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. The RICO charge is broader, and it gives prosecution the opportunity to use several different things to attempt to prove that laws have been broken, or that there's been some illegal behavior and activity. Now, I'm going to say this, and I've been saying saying this, is that I do not um, necessarily believe that Jeffrey Williams had uh, the wherewithal to run a major criminal enterprise. I just, I, this whole description of describing Jeffrey Williams as like a Frank Lucas or a Bumpy Johnson or a Al Capone or something of that sort just does not seem to be very realistic from the 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 character and what I have seen displayed. I see a guy that is from Southeast Atlanta, grew up over on Cleveland Avenue, and with his rap and music skill, worked his way out of the ghetto, like a number of our rappers and folks in hip hop have, but not a person that is able to organize, run a criminal enterprise, and conduct organized crime. I just don't particularly see that. I see young guys that were friends, probably uh, did some mischievous and petty, perhaps petty crimes as they were coming up and young. Uh, Maybe selling a little weed here and there and things of that sort. But to be able to organize and run a criminal enterprise, I don't necessarily see that as a part of his uh, character and his makeup. This is an interesting case, and it is still, ladies and gentlemen, not has not reached any major resolve. We have had only one person that decided to take or make a plea deal, and that was Quantavius Nicholls, and he pled guilty. Will do 7 years in prison with the remaining time on parole. So all of the talk and that there would be negotiations. The other five gentlemen, including that of Young Thug, government name Jeffrey Williams, will not and have not agreed to any type of plea bargain at all. They are going to go forward and have made it clear through their attorneys, through their defense attorneys, that they will be going forward with uh, with the trial and to actually see what the outcome will be, and whether or not they uh, or whether or not the DA's office will get a conviction. So we are here covering it and wanting to bring you firsthand the news, the real deal as it happens. Now, I talked to Weinstein. I talked to one of the co-counsels for the defense, and he he felt that Judge Whitaker has a great command of her courtroom and that she's doing a phenomenal job. I I question that. I think that this case has certainly uh, uh, has proven to and should be a mistrial. It's far too many mistakes, and playing as one of the times when I had talked to Jeffrey's mother, that is too much playing with the defendants' lives, people's lives, and these young brothers' lives are in hanging in a balance as a result of this case. and some decisions and some closure should happen, to, have this over with, instead of just continuing to drag it on, and no determinations, and no no decisions have been um, have been made at this time. So we are here. Um, Okay. With the sun, I'm having a hard time seeing a number of you all's comments, but definitely wanted to come to you and give you the update on the breaking news that Quantavius Nicholls has decided to uh, make a plea. All right. Okay, you all. Thank y'all for watching. Follow me on all social media and subscribe to the podcast.